Yes, my guest right now. She is a successful coach, a therapist, and author supporting her clients in overcoming obstacles, enabling them to step into a self-directed and empowered life, both personally and professionally. She did not escape from any struggles in life. She had gone through some traumas while she was still young, but these traumas made her to be the best version of herself. And she has worked as a GP in the United Kingdom for about 20 years, focusing her energy more on supporting her clients and writing, having published actually two books. No, first one is The Doctor's Choice, a hardworking doctor's guide to creating a life of freedom in 2018. And then she published her second book, Womanhood, reclaiming the power of the sacred feminine in 2021. So she sees herself as an explorer of human consciousness and evolution, being interested not only in who we are as humans, but who we are becoming. I'm really excited to listen to her story. And without further ado, let's all welcome Dr. Maritta Philp. Hello, Dr. Philp. How should I call you?
Just call me Maritta.
Maritta.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'm not at all attached to any titles or anything like that. So Maritta is perfect. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here.
Yes, and I'm truly honored to have you here. So glad that you were able to make it. And by the way, to our listeners, Maritta is working on to her third book, which is also our project, and that is Dream to Rise. That's the main reason why I invited her, because she'll be part of this project. Besides that, she will also share with us how she was able to evolve after all those traumas in her life. And Maritta, thank you so much again. And probably we could start by, if you could share your life journey with us and what have you become after that. And I know I have mentioned in the introduction what you are doing right now to other people, helping others. But what triggered you to serve your purpose?
Yes, that's a beautiful question. Yeah. And I think we all, I don't know anyone who hasn't gone through trauma. And I think in our world, it's just such a normal thing. So for me personally, the trauma is started twofold. And the first part is ancestral. And I'm German by birth, and I've lived in the UK for a very long time. And part of my ancestry is Jewish. So a big part of my mother's side, her parents and ancestors, didn't survive the Holocaust. And there's some really, even my grandmother, very, very traumatized through that. And that's a different story, but, so much trauma there. And there's a lot of evidence how trauma is inherited. That fear, and it makes sense. It makes sense that it's inherited, because if our ancestors live in traumatizing or difficult times, it prepares the offspring to survive in those times as well. However, times have moved on. So there's this genetic impulse to defend against something that's no longer relevant. So that's the first aspect. And I think we all have ancestral trauma, whether we are aware of it or not. And the second part of my really early trauma was that my mother had a blood disorder and developed antibodies against my blood. So when I was born, I had to have 3 blood exchanges. And I was in hospital for 2 or 3 weeks. And during those times, the parent or the mother was not allowed to be with the child. So I was basically on my own, separated from my family. Obviously, there was nurses there, but I didn't have that initial bonding and safety with my mother. And there's a lot of evidence that really speaks to that initial trauma of separation and not feeling safe and lacking that sense of I belong to the world and the world has my back. And because both of these things, the ancestral one and my early, my infant trauma, are totally unconscious. So because when I was growing up, it was just all that I ever knew. So it was normal for me to feel alone. I always felt I don't belong. I'm not part of this world. This notion of excuse me for being alive, that was kind of in my mind a lot, as I had no right to be here.
Oh,
And it's like you put glasses on, and that's the lens through which I saw the world. So it was an incredibly lonely place to be, and caused me a lot of challenges in my life.
So how did this impact setting that story in your, because, well, all our fears came from our past, no? And because the main reason why we experience fear is because we don't want to experience pain. And that's,
Yes.
And you trying to distance yourself from other people is because you're afraid. You're afraid of to have that connection because you didn't grow up that way. There was no connection between you and your mom and your family. Now, how did this impact you as a person in your relationship with other people, with your performance at work and so on?
Yeah, well, it has a huge impact, and it really changes absolutely everything. Now, I have to say, it's not that my mom didn't love me, and she does love me very much. It's just that initial fracturing of their bond was really traumatizing for me. And I guess the impact that it had, that indeed, like you just said, I was distancing myself from other people. I would never really speak about how I feel or what's going on for me or what my needs are. I became super sensitive to the needs of others and really became a people pleaser because that was a safer way to be. I look after everyone else, and becoming a GP speaks to that. And I can look after my patients.
Excuse me, what do you think is the main reason? Why are you pleasing other people?
Well, it's fear. It's safety, to keep safe.
Safety. And you want to belong also. You needed someone to be a part, no? And belong to a group.
Yes.
I don't know if that's what you were thinking before, because I know you've grown to be by yourself, alone. But was there this longingness of being a part of a group, being a member?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that sense of belonging is one of the core human needs that we all have. We need to belong. We are a social species, and we are hardwired for connection. And none of us do well outside of a loving bond. Now, our brain is designed to have that. And if we don't have that, we get very lonely, we get unhappy, we get depressed. All sorts of things happen that are really not good for us or for anyone else for that matter. Yeah, so that need for belonging, I think, is very, very critical. So we have these two opposing needs. You have the need to belong, and we have the need for authenticity.
Yeah.
And they seem to be not going together very well. However, I think without belonging, we can't truly become authentic.
Yes.
In a healthy way.
And it's important to be vulnerable also.
Hugely important.
Take risk.
Hugely
to share ourselves, no? And so what was the major point wherein you made that shift that that you've realized that I have to stop this. I have to really go out and share myself, and then share what I've learned in life, and then help others.
Yeah, I think the biggest part is having, done a lot of work, and it took me decades, decades
Yes.
to come to this point now. For decades, I thought about dying every single day. Not that I would have ever done that, but, I thought, oh, wow, I'm looking forward to the day that I can actually leave. But now I love life now. And I want to be here. And that was a very, very long journey. And I've tried so many different things. And I found a lot of stuff that's really worked for me. And that's working for a lot of other people. So I think, and because I'm naturally, very, very fond of people, I love people and I want people to be empowered and well. So it would make sense for me to share that. But it's taken a long time. But if through the sharing of our stories and what we have learned, if we can help people to shorten their own journey and to get to a place of where they can be whole and happy and free much quicker, I think that benefits obviously them first and foremost, but the world. And that's really what we need, because the world is struggling right now. And we need people to move from victimization to empowerment. And that's why I'm so passionate about this work.
Exactly. And we cannot say that our journey, how we were able to overcome our problem is the best medicine for all, but because we cannot compare our lives to other people's lives, because we have our own life. We have our own journey, which is entirely different. You have your own problems, I have my own problems, and we were able to overcome them in a different way, whatever circumstances that which comes into our lives. But in terms of us, let us not let them wait for me. I'm already 62. For 62 years to realize that life is great. There's only light at the end of the tunnel, which we can share ahead of time, so they won't have to stay stuck in that dark bubble for decades. No?
Yes, totally. Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you're absolutely right. We are all unique, and everybody is an individual, and there's no one like anyone.
Yes.
And it's an interesting thing that we're all totally different, and yet we all, in many ways, all the same.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting thing, as we all have these same needs, and they play out in different ways, in our unique ways. And I do think there are some principles that apply to all, but they're just principles, and how the individual applies them in their own life is up to that individual person.
Yeah.
But I think, those principles, how trauma fragments us. We kind of feel like a beautiful vase that falls on the floor and is shattered into 1,000 pieces.
Yes.
So we go from that fragmentation, separation, and disconnection. What we need to come to is back to integration and wholeness. And I think that's the same journey for all of us. It looks different for everyone, but for me, that's what I see, the principal journey, what that looks like, to go from fragmentation to wholeness.
Yes. And that's the main reason why I invited 30 authors to join me in this journey, because others might not resonate on my story. Because they didn't go through the same problem, the same struggles, no? But the others might resonate to your story. And the more we are together here sharing our stories, the more impact we are making to the people around the world.
Yes.
Yes, yes. And now you're saying that you have now manifested what you want to manifest in terms of your dream and your purpose.
Yes. Yeah, well, I'm still on that path,
Yes, we're
you
still
know.
we can still continue to learn, right?
Yeah, and I think we're never finished.
Uh-huh. So
You
what
know, yeah.
so what are your challenges in terms of manifesting your dream?
So I think the challenges are, these. So for me, a big part of the whole thing is around identity,
Mhm.
and what's the I am, because that is incredibly powerful. And so there's various stories that we buy into. And for me, a big story was I am alone.
Mhm.
And then to realize that through and operating out of that identity, I actually create that experience that reflects that right back to me. So I'll give you an example. So if I believe I'm all alone, so then I might not go to meetings or to outings. I might decline parties. If I'm invited to something, I'll arrive late. I leave early. I don't put my hand up. I don't share anything. So
Mhm.
that's how I'll show up. And other people then see me as probably super independent because I never ask for help. So they see me as independent, not needing any help. And then they don't ask if I need help. They're
Mhm.
not there for me. And then the meaning that I give that is, oh, see, I knew it all along. I'm all alone. And that's how we create our own experience. So my biggest challenge is, so these identities are very subtle and very sneaky. So my challenge is I kind of slip back, not realizing I've slipped back, like I'm not enough, or I'm all alone, I have nothing to offer. All of these are the challenges. So then recognizing, hang on a second, is this actually true? And then reorienting back. So that's part of my challenge. And the other part of my challenge is allowing myself to believe, well, I have really something great to offer, and not minimize myself and make myself small and hide, and to really step up and say, hang on, this is what I have to offer. So those are my core challenges at the moment.
Oh yeah. When you mention about you always give yourself and help others, and then others are not you feel no that they are not there when you needed help. But was
Yes.
there a time wherein you asked for help?
Yeah, well, I'm getting much better now. And it is such, like we said earlier, we have to be vulnerable.
Yes. Mhm.
And it is for me to actually ask for help makes me feel incredibly vulnerable.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
And being vulnerable is actually, it helps us to have deeper and meaningful relationship with other people.
absolutely,
Yes, that's how
absolutely.
we build true relationship. But I when you mentioned about the give and take, it reminded me of this law of circulation,
Mm,
because as we we usually give and give, but just like me, we should learn to be a gracious receiver as well.
totally.
I there was a time wherein someone would tell me, hey, you're beautiful. But I would always stop there and then tell him, I have a lot of pimples, or I have a lot of wrinkles, or so on. I give a lot of excuses not
Yeah.
to tell myself that I'm beautiful. But that person even told me, Cynthia, why can't you just say thank you? That was my challenge. And
Yeah.
this person taught me how to appreciate myself.
Yes.
And it all boils down to us, right? Because whatever we see in ourselves, what is in our thoughts, become reality. That's the
Yeah.
thing.
Reality reflects that back at us. And
Yes.
that's why it is whatever our life is, it gives us so much information about what we truly believe, what our thoughts are, the identity that we live from. And so from that space, we can become really, really empowered. However, the key thing is not to dismiss that part. And I fell into that for such a long time. The part of us or part of me that felt so alone, or that pain, well, it was too painful, so I pushed it aside. Like that little infant that was disconnected and alone in the hospital in such pain. Yeah, I didn't want to feel that pain. And by dismissing her, I kept re-traumatizing her. So turning towards those parts.
I know.
Yeah, so these parts of us that we don't like, rather than dismissing them, turning towards them.
Yes.
And reintegrating them.
Uh-huh.
For me, that's one of the biggest parts of the healing journey, to come from fragmentation and disconnection and separation back to wholeness. So the only way we become whole is by bringing those parts back and accepting them.
How long did it take you to realize that and then be able to move forward?
I've done a lot of healing work and therapy work until I came to that realization. And I think had I come to that realization earlier, my healing journey would have been much, much faster.
Did you hear, did you get help from someone or a coach or
yes,
or a therapist?
Yeah. So I've had therapy and coaching in the past, but the way I am, and that's just me personally, not everybody is like that. I'm just a lifelong learner, and I love learning. So the way I go about it, if I see something, I think, oh, let me learn that and do the training. So hence I have all these credentials because I love the thing, I'll train in it, and because I thought, well, if I train in it, I really learn it very well. And I've had some coaching and people support. I think it's very hard to do this work all on your own.
Exactly. And other people would say that, oh, I don't need help. Excuse me, you won't be able to move forward faster if you'll do it all by yourself, because it takes, as what you meant, takes a lot of self-realization.
Yes.
And then others, well, I had my coach as well, and he was the one who pushed me to my limits, or else I won't be able to discover my potential.
Yeah.
We need someone who believes in us, who lifts us up, and who would push you to your limits, so you will be able to discover your capabilities.
Yeah, that's right. Because we're all comfortable with our own discomfort. And to come out of the comfort zone, it is uncomfortable by definition. So any growth is uncomfortable, it is painful. And even now, having done all of this work, if another piece comes up, I can feel that resistance rising.
Yes.
I don't want to go there. So it takes someone else to kind of hold that space with you.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy to go there.
Exactly. Now, I would just like to ask, what would be your goal for the next 12 months?
So, well, one of my biggest goals is obviously this book that I'm participating in, which I'm very, very excited about. So that's my next thing that I'm really focused on. And then I'm working on another book as well, which I'm writing by myself. So that's the next thing that I'm going to work on.
Is there a title already?
Yes, I have a title, and I'll call it The Evolution of Self.
Wow.
From the mundane to the divine. And it's kind of 12 steps, 12 evolutionary steps to get, just evolution and healing. And it's rather than, finding something new, it's all about letting go something we no longer need.
Exactly.
It's peeling those layers to get back to who we all truly are. So
Yeah.
so I'm excited about that. And the other thing is, just kind of working on my business, and becoming better known and being able to serve more people. That's kind of what I'm working on.
So what do you think would be the major roadblock in achieving these goals?
The major what? Sorry?
Roadblock.
Oh, the major roadblock. I think it's, for me, it's a lot about self-belief,
Okay.
and believing that, and, a little in equal measure, fear of failure and fear of success, and a lot of the things, this fear of uncertainty, how, if this all comes about, how might my life change? Because as we change all the time, sometimes our family or friends don't like that.
Exactly. I agree with you because I'm experiencing that.
Yeah. So, and it's a beautiful thing at the same time, because we really get to learn who is truly in our camp and who is truly has our back, and who wants us to succeed.
But now I know there are others who would bash me, who would criticize me, but I will it's like a challenge for me now.
Yes.
Prove to them that what I am doing right now is not actually for me, but for others, and it will
Yes.
make a difference in this world.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
let the action speaks for itself.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And it is for you as well.
Yes.
We all need to be stepping into our purpose, our potential, for us and everyone else.
Yes.
Nobody should be diminished. We should all be able to be our authentic, amazing, extraordinary self, enjoying this life.
And it also helps to be surrounded by people who are there to support you.
Absolutely.
If you think that the others are draining you,
Yes.
then distance yourself and then look for other people who are aligned to your vision, to your dreams, and then so you'll be able to manifest your dream quicker.
Much, much quicker. Yes, yes. Yeah. Go back to, we are social species. We don't do well on our own.
Yes,
We
yes,
just really don't. Yeah.
yes. So before we end, would you like to give what simple advice would you like to share to our listeners?
I think one of the biggest, coming back to that integration piece, to be kind to all of you, even those parts you don't like about yourself, who might cause you pain, you want to dismiss. Be kind to those parts, because ultimately they do want something that's really positive and helpful.
Yes.
So that's one piece, I think.
Yes, and I agree with you, because if you're not healed and if you don't value yourself and if you don't love yourself, you won't be able to share that love for others and you won't be able to help others.
Yeah. Yeah. So the key thing is then to remain in the truth of who you are.
Yes.
Like I shared these stories, the identities, like I'm alone or I'm not enough or whatever that might be. And to nurture those parts and to bring them, like this, your young children,
Yes.
to nurture those parts back into the wholeness of your being.
I love that. I love that. So would you like to share your social media? How could they connect with you? How?
Yeah. So this is probably also part of my challenge for the next year, because I'm not very good at all of that thing. So I do have a website though,
Okay.
so people can find me there. And it's very simple, marittaphilp.com. So MARITTAPHILP
Okay. That's nice. But you still have your Facebook account, isn't it? You have your Facebook account.
I do have a Facebook account, and but I'm not very active on that. I kind of created a professional one.
LinkedIn. Are you in LinkedIn?
I'm in LinkedIn as well. Yes, yes. Oh, actually,
Oh.
yes, LinkedIn.
So it's also Maritta Philp.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
Maritta Philp. Yes.
Okay.
And that's probably more up to date than anything else. Yes.
You know what, Maritta? It was so nice chatting with you and sharing your story. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners got inspired with your story. And a lot of us are usually stuck in our dark bubble because of our history, our past. And we need to make that decision for us to really live the life we love. We have to let go, learn from our past mistakes, whatever mistakes we've had, learn from it and move on, and work on what is present.
Yeah. And also recognizing there's more than just a trauma. There's so much more. It's like you have this beautiful mansion and you're stuck in the cellar, in the basement with your flashlight in the dark, and you just look in that corner of broken furniture and spider webs, and that's all you see, but you don't see the rest of the mansion.
Yes.
So we need to actually bring into
Look
our
at the big
awareness,
picture.
yeah, what else is there?
Exactly. And that's the main reason why we have this vision, the
Yes,
purpose, because
yes,
it's not only a small part of ourselves, but what are we able to share? How are we able to share ourselves so others may learn from us,
yes,
being the light for others?
yes, absolutely. Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Maritta, for being here. And I am truly grateful and honored to have you as my guest here at
Yeah,
my Dream
yeah,
to Rise podcast.
yes.
Uh,
Thank you so much, Cynthia. I really enjoyed spending that time with you.
Same here. And I look forward to our project, our joint project,
Yes,
Dream to
yes,
Rise anthology book.
yes,
Will be released December 5.
yes. Very exciting. Yeah, that won't be long.
Yes, that won't be long. So we have to work.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Till next episode. Bye.